And we already established in the previous videos that we all, understand the value of carbs to some level. We have to manage them. We do have some flexibility in how we lay that out. But what do you guys do with that client? You've got the calories established in your mind, in your programming. You've got their protein. How do you decide between carbs and fat?
I'll start this off. I include a question about what they prefer. If they could eat more, what would they prefer, fat or carbs? Some people digest them better. Some people just prefer them. I know from my experience in being a flexible dieter, when fat gets restricted, food choice becomes very restricted. So if you can keep fat a little bit higher, you have different protein choices, you have different carb choices. When that fat number gets really low, it can become really difficult. It can be really limiting with food selection, right? So I really like to keep my basement. I have a number of 17% for fats for daily intake. And I like to keep it as high as possible early on in the process, because really carbohydrates and fats are going to be the biggest variable, but fats are never really going to start over 100 grams for most people. So you're not pulling from a huge pool of calories when it comes to fat. So I like to take that initial total calorie intake, set the protein, and then ask the individual, which do you prefer? And if I can keep fat at 30%, 20 to 25%, somewhere in there to start off, I find that's a nice range. And then fill in the rest with carbohydrates. Every now and then I'll have some pushback. I do not like taking my fat this high. A lot of people associate eating fat with being fat, through probably some dogma from the past. I try to educate them on fat actually got some value and benefit. That's
and vice versa. Sometimes I know a lot of clients say, no, I can't take my fat too low because hey, I got to have it for hormones.
Yeah.
And they think that carbs are the boogeyman. We got to keep carbs low, and I need my fat high. So how do you create that?
So that's initially when I see what they're eating. If they're crushing their fats and they're having nuts all day or something, that's just an example. If they're eating 80 to 100 grams of fat already just in their daily life, I don't want to bring them down to 40 because they might think that's just terrible. And so they might have a hard, if they've never done it before, if they have a hard time with tracking and just picking food choices, they might feel like they're failing. And so I go on the higher side, at least 30% or sometimes 35 just to start, but I tell them, hey, you're here with your fat, maybe we'll start you at higher side, like 65 or 60, depends the male, and then tell them, we're going to go down in the next week or two. You've been meeting in the middle with your fats, we're going to go down, proteins go up, and then just understand that you're going to look at different choices as you go when you're at the grocery store. So that way they get the concept down. But if they start just naturally eating lower, just because they're cleaning it up, then right away, all right, let's change it right away. That way the conversion's a little better. But I have like a middle ground too. 25% is kind of a sweet spot for me initially. But I also have I'll never go past this point, 17 or 18%, or just like a flat number. I don't like going over 30.
Yeah, that's low.
I like the 17% number.
I don't know why, but it always just seems to work out for that when I start doing the calculations. But I like Tyler. I have a number for men below 40 and for women below 35. Okay.
Yeah, I remember when he quoted me 40. He was like 5 grams, 45 to 40. My first went with you, and I thought it was the end of the world. But
you have to change food sources.
Yeah,
at that point, you have to get so specific with what you're eating to avoid fat.
And for some people that really is necessary because we know because of the thermic effect of fat being so low, and the fact that when your body is in a calorie deficit and potentially under your metabolic set point, any fat you eat can potentially be stored as fat instantly.
Sure.
And so that is kind of a go-to last mechanism for people who are in those last few weeks and they really need to get lean. You take that fat down to a minimum level if you've kept that in your back pocket as a technique, and that can really finish the job nicely. But go ahead.
I was just saying, I like to keep those tools in the shed as much as possible and bring it down when you need. But if you got to go below the basement, it's needed for like a week or two to do it. But if I see the fats are just naturally lower, even lower than 30, which I've seen many times, I'll just tell them, hey, you're way lower than what I expected. Let's take advantage of that.
You mean 30 grams?
Yeah.
Yeah, I occasionally see a client who can get as low as 10 to 15 grams. That's almost, I'm skeptical if they're really that low.
I've seen that with some of the coaches' approach to cookie cutter meal plans when they actually plug those macros in and they're eating like 12 all almonds and asparagus and fish all day, they'll actually get to that level.
Well, even like if they're microwaving egg whites, so there's not even any spray involved, and there's not even the fat in a chicken breast, or they're just I mean, there are ways you can do that, and again, by choice. If you just like that, I can deal with it. But I really like the way that you guys outlined kind of that 15 to 30% of calories range, because if you get above 30%, it's almost hard to eat that much fat. 25% is kind of a sweet spot for me as well to be on the high side of dieting. When I'm getting closer to 20, that's when I feel like that's we're gonna make progress. And I find that in the case studies that we provide for Tier 1, a lot of our coaches who are taking the exam kind of settle into that 25% range as well. And then occasionally for the case studies, they'll pick up on, oh, well, this particular persona, this person, really likes higher fat foods, so I allow that to go to 30%. So it's really, really well done, you guys, on what you're doing and how you frame that. But now for the last couple minutes on carbohydrates, we've got protein, we've got fat, and so we fill in the rest with carbs. Do you give any specifics on, or do you have anything that you're looking for with their initial carb intake?
So my thoughts on carbohydrate intake is what are they currently doing? Because I find a lot of people like to train super early in the morning, and they don't tolerate a lot of carbohydrates early in the morning. Whereas I typically like to prioritize a nice carbohydrate meal pre and post workout. If they're training at 4, 5, 6 in the morning and they're not eating, I might try to have them prioritize carbohydrates later in the evening. I really try to. You mentioned people fearing carbohydrates. I think people that are aware of me, they see my content, they know I'm a proponent of using a carbohydrate-based approach. I'm able to eat quite a few carbohydrates throughout the process of fat loss, and the leaner I get, I feel like the more important the timing is. But yeah, I'm definitely going to try to get them to at least space them out evenly. Make sure that they're not having any digestive issues. Oftentimes what I find is when someone gets on a macro plan or they start getting flexible numbers, they'll change their carbohydrate sources, thinking, "Oh, I'm doing better now because I'm getting a lot of vegetables." So they might complain that they're bloating. They might complain that they're having energy crashes. So that's when I'll start looking at food choices. But yeah, I just try to make sure that they're getting enough to impact their training and recovery in a positive manner, and they're not having a negative impact on their digestibility.
That's a lot of what I do as well. But with the carb intake, I kind of have an idea in my head of where it would be, but when I come up with the percentages and go through the calories and how much they should be eating, when I take in protein and then the fats, and I basically take what's left over with carbs, if it's a higher number where they might be afraid of thinking that that's just too high, sometimes psychologically I play that aspect where they're not going to like that number. I know that already just by what they told me. So sometimes I'll play that game a little bit of going a little bit deeper in a deficit, and if I have to suffer protein a little bit, if I know if protein won't go up because they just can't eat it, I just might go in a little bit deeper deficit. So sometimes I'll just go lower if I need to, but I really focus on the carb sources around workouts as well, and making sure they're on point with the structure. And that's the most important part, is they're not killing all their carbs by noon. So,
especially with physique athletes, you have to pay attention to the basement, just like with fat. I think there's a basement of carbohydrates. Anytime you get below 100, I start paying attention for men. Below 60 or 70 for women. You're starting to get into numbers where you might be getting into like ketogenic numbers, and we're talking about performance athletes. So I really want to make sure that that's when we're really prioritizing the timing of the carbohydrates when they get that low, and that's when I start looking at things like refeeds, consecutive day refeeds, and diet breaks as a solution, because I don't believe you just take more away and add more cardio forever. There has to be another use of this process, because they're physique athletes. They're trying to keep lean body mass.
Yeah, I look forward in our next videos talking about that, the meal planning, the diet breaks, and things like that. But I think what you just described is a pretty good extreme client. You said 60, 70 grams.
Those are the most extreme.
Yeah, because my radar goes off if I'm getting a female under 100. Men, if I feel like I have to take them under 150 to 125, then I'm on high load as well.
yeah. Now you only go to that level the last few weeks.
Yeah, I mean,
not 20 weeks out.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, we will be back next week with week 6, and we'll start talking about meal planning and how to actually make this roll out for your clients in a way that helps them. It makes it easy for them to succeed.